Hello everyone, currently in the North Carolina mountains, so the internet's really slow, so I'm going to stick with the same names because some of the moves finally played out, and then over the weekend, if I get some faster internet, we'll choose some different tickers, go a little bit more in depth. But right now, the bears have control of the short term. We have some key support approaching for CGC. Everybody had a bearish reaction to the Ontario news coming out. We still have to wait for the actual details and the actual, wording before we make any clear, concrete assumptions, but it's an understanding that as of right now, to start off, that the companies being limited to one storefront could potentially be a negative aspect. I do believe it would change if that were the way it would play out. But again, we need more information. So still speculation on that at this point. There's a rumor flying around about, crop loss and CGC. We have to be careful of that. I do believe it would have been released right now if it were true, because it would be a material event. With the amount of numbers that people are throwing out there, it would definitely be... You'd get in trouble with the SEC if you did not let shareholders know that there was a significant loss on a crop like that. Either way, let's just look at the technicals from here. We have, 14 trading days now until October 17th, something along those lines. We are close to a key support. So right now I'm watching support of 48.02, then 46.20 comes after that. 3 red days in a row, increase in bear volume today stands out. The hourly time frame shows us that we've been defending. Well, let's look at the 4-hour actually. We're looking for that 4-hour higher low compared to $48, and bulls better show up tomorrow, because if we break that level, and if we include extended hours, it's 47.72, but if we break that level, the daily higher low pattern is lost. The last time the bulls on CGC lost a daily higher low pattern, I guess you could call it back here, but pretty much that would be the most notable shift that we've seen in a while from bulls to bears. Doesn't mean we're going to dump as soon as it breaks. Again, the bears are a bit exhausted. 3 days in a row to the downside. Hourly RSI is about to be oversold. But if it breaks, we will expect a lower high on any bounce after that. So right now, the hourly time frame, the RSI with extended hours on, has us hovering just above oversold. We grinded against $40 support. $40 support held. It actually did break by 10 cents, but you can see there's a clear battle going on at $40. And at this point, or $49. At this point, it is still holding. If we break $49 with a potential gap down open tomorrow, if we skip it pre-market, as we know the bears can easily break 49 much easier than they can during regular trading. But if that level breaks, we're going to start tomorrow with a gap down open and a oversold RSI level. So I will be looking for an entry tomorrow if that is the case, if we started weakness. And again, my aggressiveness is going to match the bears. So if we flush down into 48, and even if we break 48 first thing tomorrow and drop 47.50, I'm going to look to play this hourly oversold bounce. Again, we do still have that date of October 17th. At this point, you know my opinion that I don't believe we're going to see the sector run into this date, but it is still enough that we could be looking for bulls to buy the dip in anticipation of some upside heading into that. So as far as key resistance, 15-minute time frame can give us clarity on resistance levels, because it was a bit choppy today. And we had 49.68 as resistance, 49.70, 49.89. So a few resistances just under $50 psychological. And essentially we have a sideways range to be watching. Break $50, it's a clear bull break with some nice space to the upside. And break $49, and we're looking $1 to the downside to 48. Hourly RSI, again, will have me interested in a bounce play, even if we do get that bear break tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to. Weakness first thing, weakness pre-market. How's it going to play out? And if the bulls can hold 49 tomorrow first thing, and again, hold 49 and break these resistance levels, we could look at a solid little move into the upper $50 range towards 51. So keeping an eye on CGC for that reason, but the daily uptrend is at risk for CGC. ACB has now pulled back multiple days in a row. It is on declining bear volume, but we're close to losing the daily uptrend here as well. We could see the sector lose a bunch of daily uptrends. APH already did it. But ACB, if we lose 1144, we lose the daily higher low pattern. The next clear daily higher low after that is down at 950. So at this point, 1348 was the top of the reaction to the earnings, and we've now pulled back to 1158. That's a very significant pullback in just a couple of days. And the question is, are we going to see a bounce from oversold conditions? The hourly RSI on ACB is not at oversold yet, and that's because we are coming from a high RSI with that gap up open. So we could very easily see another 5% drop before we get to hourly oversold. So keep that in mind for ACB. If we break 1144, tomorrow, that's when we're going to start looking for hourly RSI to be oversold. But it could be the kind of scenario where sector leader Canopy, CGC here, dictates when the sector does get a bounce going. APH, not good news for the bulls. Clear bear break, increasing bear volume. So if I were in a position, I would have exited when 1857 breaks. At this point, we've now seen 79 cent drop, and that is roughly about 4%. So that is notable, a clear bear break, and the lack of support here. 1576 is the next clear support level. So APH is the first one to lose its daily uptrend. The question now is going to be, are the other names going to lose their uptrends as well? You can see there's no support here on the 4-hour time frame to be looking at in this space until 1576, and the hourly RSI is right around where CGC is. And if we do see further downside tomorrow and break 1747, we're looking to 17 psychological, and that hourly RSI will be getting oversold at that point. So that's something else we're going to be keeping an eye on. But a clear bear break, again, this is notable. It was a daily equilibrium pattern, higher lows and lower highs, and that is as clear a bull break as you can get. Look at the declining bull volume, increasing bear volume. That tells the story. CRON, still weak. The low of yesterday was 1082. We did hold that level, so it is a daily inside bar. 1085 and 1082 are supports if those levels are lost. 1044 is the next level to be watching. As far as resistance goes, every day is a lower high, so hourly downtrend worth watching. 1147 and 1151 are resistance. So again, people say people don't understand the technical analysis. We're not predicting things. If I look at the price today and I say, all right, I want to know if I need to look bullish or bearish on CRON. Our last lower high is 1151. If I see us top out at 1147, 4 cents below that resistance level, there's no way I'm making a bullish entry. That's a clear rejection from resistance. That tells me the bears still have control at that point. So it's using previous levels to get a gauge. How strong are the bulls? How weak are they? And in this instance, the bulls failed and the bears kept their control. So we're just looking down at a double bottom the last 2 days. Pretty much if CGC breaks $49, CRON is very likely to break this 1082 support and see another leg down. And we'll be watching the hourly trend to change for any of these names to get any kind of significant bounce or follow through. But as of right now, the bears have momentum, and they had it again here at the end of the day for most of the sector. TLRY, this has got to be driving you fundamental analysts wild. Declining volume, there's our signal. There's the volume spike. Inside bar broke bullish first thing at 118.98, and we shot like a rocket up pretty much 18% in an hour or two. So very significant follow through. I've been on the road and in the sky, so I was not able to play TLRY today, but such a beautiful break and follow through. And the fact that the entire sector is weak and TLRY sees a solid bull day, again, that's why the fundamental analysts have to be cringing, but that's the way she goes. Clear signal. And traders like me who could care less about TLRY fundamentals would have jumped or did jump all over that break. And I just did not buy because of my life situation. But there's the bull break. Consolidation, tightening ranges forming. A little bit of upside action into the end of the day. We pretty much had a 15-minute equilibrium. It broke bearish, and we got no follow-through. So oftentimes, a break of a pattern with no follow-through is, number one, a red flag where, if you made a bearish entry on this break and you see the bulls start to show up, to bail real quick because there's no follow-through on that move. And number two, it could be a reason to jump in the other direction. So we changed the trend back to a higher low and higher high at the end of the day, and we're just looking at 131.92, 137.69, and 140 psychological as resistances, with the 15-minute support of 126, the most important short-term support level the bulls are going to be watching tomorrow. TLRY is the most bullish Canadian MJ name out of these major five in the short term. And I know that sounds strange to say, but it is the fact at this point. RIV got a clear bear break, but note the volume. It's not a convincing break on volume. Both NBEV and RIV bear breaks of their inside bar, but the volume didn't spike. So that's not a very convincing move, which would keep me looking for a bull entry on RIV. Now we're at black dirt breakdown. There's no support. I'm not going to buy trying to catch a falling knife, but I'm going to watch for a trend to change. And at this point, I would find the time frame that we have not changed the trend on this entire pullback, and I look at the 15-minute time frame, and that fits the criteria. We have broken ever since here it did. So that's long enough for me. So we have broken the lower highs, but it has not led to higher low and higher high confirmation of the trend change. So at this point, it's been since September 25th. We've got 2 days now of just 15-minute lower highs and lower lows. Change the 15-minute trend. That's when you can look to make a bullish entry, because that's how you can analyze your risk to reward of the trade. If I make a bullish entry right now, where's my stop level? If I wait for the 15-minute trend to change, my stop level is the lowest price that we've hit at that point, and that would be my exit point. So at this point, the lower high on the 15-minute is 640. If the bulls can break 640, that's step number one. We then need the higher low and then continuation. And if we break the lower highs, you can look to make an entry on the higher low, because the risk will be less significant, because we will be closer to that stop out level. We would want to see declining bear volume to set that higher low, increasing bull volume on continuation, all kinds of little details. But the bottom line is keep an eye on RIV, because once this daily level is found, once we do build a base of support, we will be looking for, let's see, at this point we're down at 610. I would be looking for a 10% bounce fairly easily once that low is found and once the momentum does shift. Just got to be patient if you're a bull. NBEV clear bear break was 435. Broke it right away, dropping down. Now we're looking at 361. Bulls really want to hold that level. They still have a chance because, again, the volume is not spiking. We're not seeing an increase in bear volume on this bear break. So it's all about that level of 361 and the 15-minute lower highs here. Let's see if it's a good guide as well. We don't want to see fake outs. So if I look at the 15-minute time frame and I see fake outs with bull breaks and then bear breaks, that's when I go and find a different time frame for a different pattern. But here there's enough consistency over the past couple of days that the 15-minute time frame is in a clear lower high pattern that I can say that if we change the 15-minute trend, that's when the bulls will get interested. We did break it once here, but that was with a higher open. And I have to take higher opens with a grain of salt, because again, it requires no volume to see that higher open. And here's what I'm talking about, where we had our low, lower high, higher low, opened higher, but no follow through, just profit taking the entire morning after that higher open. So patiently waiting for NBEV as well. A little bit of a different scenario, just because RIV is going to be coming off of its all-time low, whereas NBEV has a support level still left to be going off of, and that's a potential level to be watching for an entry if we do see a 15-minute trend change while holding 361 support. That's the bottom line. That's where we are headed into tomorrow. Momentum is still favoring the bears after multiple days of pullback, increased in bear volume on the bearish reaction to the initial Ontario report, let's call it, or legislation. Rulings, make up the word you want to put in there. And ACB, let's see, APH, clear lead bear, just in terms of its clear bear break and clear bear volume. CRON has been the lead bear. It's just following what it's been doing the past few days. TLRY, lead bull in the short term, and CGC and ACB both approaching their daily higher lows of support that the bulls want to maintain to keep the daily uptrend. Things are getting interesting. Again, what I said yesterday still applies, and it will forever until October 17th. Every single red day we get from here decreases the odds that we see a bull run into October 17th. Doesn't mean we can't see a bull move, but in terms of the hype and euphoria that we saw, again, I believe CNBC ruined it. Not ruined it, but just used up all the juice. They made everybody aware of it. Everybody that was going to buy before was bought, and now we're seeing some consolidation, and I can't imagine that institutions are going to say, oh, October 17th, we got to get in before that date, because that's what it's going to take to move these prices significantly, 30, 40%, what some of these names need to see continuation. We either need a big deal with news, or we aren't going to, my opinion. I'll see you all tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get some faster internet, and have a good night.